Alright, go.
We've been asked how we create our plans or decide what we're doing, how do we put it together, sort of thing. So
Trip plan.
Huh?
Trip plan.
Trip planning. Yes. So how do we do it? How do we do it? So a lot of the time, it depends if it's going to be a big trip or it's going to be a short trip. If it's a short trip, that's usually I wake up in the morning and come outside, and Trav's already been up for a while, and he goes, "Hey, look, we're going out today." And I'm half asleep, haven't had my coffee yet. I'm like, huh? And then he asks, "Oh, where are we going?" Or I've had this idea, I've had that idea. So that's one way our trips get planned.
In fairness, I tend to pick an idea or a concept of what we're doing, and do we want to go see a rock so Kai can have a climb, or do we want to go to a historical point or things like that?
Yeah.
It's not just let's have at it. Well, there's a lot of have at it.
There's a
A bit of have at it, but
or we just feel like a drive. So,
or we just feel like, well, that's
so we'll go find a cool track. Okay, if we're going on our own, we find a track. If we're going with friends, it'll be a track suggested by them, maybe. Or in the vicinity of the area they want to be in.
Is that? Yeah. So a lot of it comes down to utilising current media. You got Facebook and Instagram and all these things that give you tip ideas of which way to go. Generally speaking, if someone's on Facebook or Insta telling you about a campsite, it's a wanky site. Don't bother going there.
Gonna be busy.
Every kind of bit. But my bad. But the reality is, we use apps. Which direction we're going this weekend? You know, there's a moving needle. Stop! Oh, we're going to that direction. All right, well, let's go that direction. We'll find a camp on WikiCamps.
Hope they don't point to the west. Oh, we'll end up in the ocean.
There's a big river crossing that one. We head in a direction that the boys pick, and we find a campsite on WikiCamps that might be suitable. And we do, for most of it, we do a lot of research as well. I think we look at that in the places that are involved. We look at the colonial perspective, the historical significance, the indigenous significance. And we try to involve that as much as we can in what we do, because ultimately we're not doing this for other people, we're doing this for ourselves and for our children. So we want them to learn from these adventures, not just, we don't just want to go out and bushwhack shirt. We want to teach them and have them learn new things and new experiences and the history of where they are and where they've been. So when they look back on some of our videos, they can actually go, oh, well, actually, I know a bit about that because I was there, and I spoke to these people and I spoke to these locals, and
there was one they look back on recently and they're like, oh wow, I remember that. And, boys, come and look at the pipe. Boys, come and look at the pipe.
Yeah, on Dunn's Track, you know, like that's a historical track.
Yeah.
But
they remember the pipe.
But that's right, they remember the pipe. There's those moments of mumbling and dud in the video, and they can, you know, the songs that we use, they're the songs that we are listening to when we have these trips. So the songs also have that semiotic of when we're listening to those songs again, they trigger those memories of those moments,
Definitely.
which is great. But you know, things like with the Yamaji Trail, I think was a great trip that we did.
Yeah, and I've passed that on to a lot of people as well.
Yeah, but you know, like before we did that trip, it's obviously very indigenously significant to those people. But before we even did that trip, we did our homework. We sat back and I spoke with people of the Yamaji Nation, and where do you think we should go? What can you tell me about these places? And we had those moments in that video where...
Or moments withheld from the video.
Moments withheld from that video where we discussed things that were shared with me and were shared with us that we didn't share on the video because they weren't our stories as well.
I tried to find my way back home to feel the same again. The voice of nothing listened for too long. Little by little, you wait. I think I've lost my mind. Too late to change now what I will behind.
There's a lot of public information available, but that was some really special moments we had too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So,
But how do we plan? That's really,
How do we
isn't that the question you asked me? Now we're dribbling.
so I suppose once we get a destination, ish, an idea, or an inkling of where to go, and north, south, east, west, in between. Then we need to look at our spaces, and then we need to find our specific points. Usually it is finding a specific point and then all the cool stuff around it.
Generally speaking, what I do, I'll get the direction, I'll find a camp in that area, and I'll see how many k's away it is. Depending on what time we got available, I will find within 200 k's, within 300 k's, within 400 k's, whatever it might be, I will find a spot on Wikicamps within that range. A lot of the time I will look at, even on Google. I'll Google the location, just to try to find out more about the historic nature of the area or anything like. If we're going to go somewhere, what are we going to teach the children? So I'll Google research it, and when you Google researching it, there's always these other tracks and stuff, and they're cool.
It's so fun.
And we don't know where they're going to go, and they might be there or they might not be there. A lot of times, tracks on Google don't exist.
You'll see a lot of
Or-
us practicing our reversing skills, I'll call it.
Well, there's that too.
I'm getting a little bit better.
A lot of the times, there may be dieback restrictions or things like that we have to contend with. Yeah. We don't know. If you're looking at it on Google, you might not know that there's a restricted track until you get there. Suck it.
So when we come to our
Suck it and see.
when we come to our big trip planning, especially ones that don't exist, well, to a degree, and so we like to hit up. We will actually grab out the computer and write down all of our coordinates for each place. So even sometimes with tracks that we know that we are going to have no service and stuff, and we could get very lost. Yeah. We'll pull out the computer, we'll write down the coordinates. Trav usually does a lot of it. On our last one, I did it. Yay, go me.
Yeah, Newman trip was all you.
It was all me.
For most of our trips, we tend to have an itinerary. So for a short trip, what I normally do is screenshot. Pretty much, I'll screenshot my wiki camps. That's where we're staying this time. If there's any tracks in the area, I'll drop a pin, screenshot it, so I've got the GPS coordinates, and go, hey, that track might be cool to look at.
Apart from that, we'll just wing it.
That's how we do a short trip. Big trips, when we need more coordinates,
There can be a lot of planning.
it's basically the same thing with a lot more
Yeah.
recording of those details.
So the last trip has mentioned that it's not very available online anymore. It did used to be. There were a few sites that definitely used to have the tracks, but they've all been pulled. So when I went through, I had to kind of pinpoint every corner, write down the coordinates, and in the end, our car had a hissy fit and none of them worked. However, we did still have the maps that gave us those little bends that we would go, yeah, we feel like we're turning in the right direction.
We back up our coordinates with screenshots of maps.
Yeah. So with the combination and some details when you get to this water crossing, then you turn left, even if there's not a right turn, you still turn left, just in case. Which was extremely helpful
Keep
because
straight on, turn left,
Yeah.
turn right. That's pretty much
any major
the codes we
things you can
use.
see in the track.
We've done it by spreadsheets. We've mapped itineraries via spreadsheets using key points, camps, distances to fuel, things like that.
A lot of satellite images. They help too.
But still, the spreadsheets help us plan where we're going to stop, where we're going to restock, where we're going to refuel, and so on and so forth. They have been handy. Like when we did the Mundell.
That's it.
We took all that information, we put it in a spreadsheet, so we had a single source of truth.
Ocean is black, the devil's track, looking beyond beneath the sea. Eye of the storm is here again, and there before you will ever born. Beyond the dark, I feel the pain.
Our itineraries may change quite a lot.
Do.
They do change
They change.
a lot. But having that basic format does definitely help us get back on track, or if not back on track, it gives us a new fuel base, next fuel base, or
we've got some general points of interest that we need to hit or want to hit. How we get there and achieve them is up to us, and it's flexible. It's part of the exploration. It's part of the fun.
And,
If it doesn't work it out.
that's it.
Keep going. Keep exploring.
That's how a lot of our adventures end up into adventures. Exactly what it should be. Anyway, Monkey,